Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Big Chief channel. Joining you today is myself, your host, Aaron Lee, as well as a very familiar face. And we're going to be talking about the part two of why you must be an author, none other than John Tan himself. Welcome in, John. How is it going?
Thank you very much, Aaron. It is always great to be on this show. And
Awesome.
as you mentioned, the why you must be an author. It's a very strong
Yes.
title. You must be an
Not why
author,
you
not
should, huh?
choose. So last week we covered five, I believe. Huh? Today we do 6 to 10.
Awesome. Shall we jump right into it, or shall we give a quick refresher on what was the topics from we covered last week?
Yeah, the 5 to 10. Actually, there are more than 15 good reasons, but because of the format of the show, I, as I mentioned last week, we keep it to 10. 10 is already a lot. All right.
That's
If
right. That's
10
right.
reason doesn't sort of instigate a
Convince you.
crouching dragon among the audience, then
Uh huh.
what else can we do to instigate you, right? Now, the top 5 to 10, not in any order. Of course, number one is the one that most people think about, and nothing wrong with that. Afterwards, I give you my 2 cents worth. Not to worry. Number one is make money. Yeah. Last week we covered is not my research. Amazon and all the big boys on online and in the physical world have done research. Not many people make much money from selling the
Mm.
book. Self-fulfillment. In Malaysia, we call triple S. Syok sendiri saja. Nothing wrong with that. I can assure you, writing your own book on whatever subject, more so when self-publishing is so respectable and acceptable today. And just to
Mm-hmm.
refresh people, retail bookstores openly accept self-published book. The last 5 to 10 years, unlike 20 years ago, they won't accept self-published book. Number
Yep.
three is a PR marketing tool. Yeah, a book can open doors for you, whatever business. I prove it. Once they discover I was an author of branding, the example I quoted last week, MD told the key people, hey, John is an author of branding. Whoa, I got the job. And indirectly, it brings in, and when I was doing brand strategy, is a six-figure, 5 to 6 figure, 5 figure higher side, 6 figure lower side. And
Mm.
that is making money indirectly, but not from selling the book. Number
Right.
four, all of us go through life, no matter what age, even as a teenager, 15 years, in 20s and above, you have knowledge and experience to share with the world in
Mm.
three possibilities. A, expertise, talent, or skill. B, your passion, interest, or hobby. That means non-commercial. And third, you never know. You discover something, you come up with an invention, you can talk about it,
Mm. You pass
to
down your
share with the world.
legacy before you leave the world.
Today we shall touch on create a legacy per se. And then number five,
Yeah.
many trainers in the market, facilitators, but in Malaysia, people like to call us who do training trainers. So trainers, many trainers should be guilty. They don't convert their training program into a book. We should. Yeah.
Mm.
As I mentioned, the Philippines market, even 10 years ago, they convert the training program into a book. And the
Mm.
HR directors who look into adopting programs of training, they're very impressed. Today is the same. So, shall we move on to 6 to 10 today?
Sure, sure. Let's
Yeah.
dive right in, but really quick. I'd like to welcome our audience in, especially those of them who are in the chat, like Patricia. Welcome, welcome you.
Mm,
So let's jump into the sixth reason why you must be an author. I believe, John, you have noted it down for me over here, but the
yeah.
audience can't see it. But I'm reading it off of my screen. It says, explore multiple streams of income.
Yeah. As I mentioned last week, MSI, multiple streams of income, was a huge buzzword 10 to 15
Mm.
years ago. Not to say it's gone out of fashion, it was a huge buzzword, lots of workshops, seminar talks, zero on multiple sources of income. So writing a
Uh,
book is example of exploring multiple sources of income, you know, based on
that's
what you
true.
know, based on your knowledge, whatever. So that is the area that we should look into. When we say author of a book, it doesn't mean just a book. Book physical, online, isn't it? What about
Mm.
video? Video, you can author, and if you if you turn it into a video format, that's also like a book, right? It's
True.
like a video book. And last week, Aaron, you mentioned something interesting, a comic book. Why not?
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Captain Marvel style. Huh? So you explore multiple sources of income. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I
And why not?
do have a friend who runs a cleaning agency actually. He does
Mm,
cleaning for
mm.
corporate buildings and stuff like that in Australia, and he actually writes comics, and he integrates that into his marketing, which is quite
Yeah,
interesting.
fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. It could be you work with someone who can visualize or draw, an
Mm.
artist. It could be divided pages. It could be start of chapter, isn't it? Or it could be full blown all the way. Huh?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
fantastic concept because nowadays life is so busy. People actually prefer comic books and
Yeah. Something
illustrated
out of
books.
the norm, right?
Instead of word upon word upon word upon word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
as a professional writer myself, I prefer less words,
That's
and
true. That's true.
that's human
Especially
nature on the
nowadays
one.
with
Yeah,
yeah, people nowadays have less attention span anyway.
less attention span, which is a good news in a way. So to write a book, we do not write like typically before 300 to 400 pages. No, in
Mm.
fact 10 years ago when ebook started to become trendy, today is still trendy,
Mhm.
uh, and trendy of course in a good way that people welcome it. 80 to 120 pages is quite a safe
Mm.
number of pages to use today. You know?
Which is
Not like
actually
those days 300. Yeah.
a challenge, isn't it? Because I think
Mm.
it's much easier to just mindlessly write 400 pages than it is to
Yeah.
take 400 pages and squeeze it into 80 pages.
It
Don't
is
you think
true.
so?
Of course, those who wrote very well, they write 300 to 400. I always salute them. These people got
Mm.
depth. But on the
Yeah.
other hand, the other people just to make the quota of words, like you say, mindless lah, rojak. Is it? But to to write 80 to 120, you need to overwrite first. Yeah?
Right.
In the words of Mark Twain, I paraphrase, to write a short speech is more difficult to write a long speech. You know?
Oh yeah.
So you get the whole picture out, and then you crystallize the essence into 80 to 120.
Yeah.
It's
True.
easier than writing 300 400. Just the thought of 300 400, you won't get started. Correct or not?
Very, very true.
Mm.
So, I guess that covers it for this point, right?
Yeah. So number
Shall we
seven,
move
you
on?
did mention.
Mm.
Yeah, number seven is create a legacy. Yeah? So you did
Ah,
mention that you write whatever, you create a legacy. Yeah? True. I mean, legacy has many meaning and many segmental sort of context to it. It could be your
mm,
personal legacy. What do you want to leave behind? Yeah.
mm,
Of course, if you're very successful making money, you leave behind inheritance. Your children will love you, right?
mm.
Aside from that, what do you leave behind? Your knowledge and experience. This is what we're talking about. Yeah?
Right.
So instead of
Which you
just
can't
leaving
buy with money.
behind, yeah, instead of just leaving behind the famous book by famous authors, of course we still respect them. Why don't you leave what you've learned in a
Mm,
series of books for your children and further? Who knows? Later they promote and sell it and can make money, for
true.
for the family. I mean, just like Elvis Presley passed away in 1978, the wife has been churning money out of it, in a
Mm,
very entrepreneur way. So leave that legacy. many types of context. One, your personal legacy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Second, your professional legacy. The professional realm would gain from it. Oh, Aaron, left behind this legacy about this concept, yeah, and sort of add on to the world of knowledge and experience. And third, family legacy. I like the third family legacy. I am going to be very serious about it from now. I want to leave a
Ooh.
series of books for as part of family legacy. It
But what
doesn't
does
need
that
to
mean? What
be
does that entail? How is it different
writing
from
a series of books. Would be touching on professional, could be touching on personal, yeah, could be touching on, for instance, I went into high success, typically that people want to. I went into the other way also, to
Hmm.
the deepest ocean, and then I came back, and almost like rising like the phoenix. Those are stories we could be a legacy and not only be appreciated by our family, our own generation, it could impact them,
Mm-hmm.
daddy or granddaddy was successful, but you never heard he went through the depths of ocean and
Yeah.
came back. Wow, that is a
Yeah.
very inspirational sort of a legacy to your family and
True.
future
True.
generation. Instead of leaving behind, some of my friends do nothing wrong, whole library of 600 to 1,000 books. Our own legacy, our own experience, our
Mm.
own wisdom. That's what we mean by create a legacy.
And also, you would be inspiring people even after your death. Wouldn't
Yeah,
isn't that
exactly.
quite?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And who says we cannot inspire people after our death? So that is a lack of
Hmm.
self-esteem in a lot of people, including myself in the earlier years. Before I explore this subject of why you must be an author, before the
Yeah.
advent of self-publishing becoming respectable,
True.
we
True.
always ask ourselves the question: Who am I to leave the legacy of my life and experience? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So we see
That's
some
right.
very wealthy people, especially they write autobiography, which we'll touch on afterwards, biography. And most of us don't, just because we did
Mm.
not make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
We leave behind a lot of real experience, which is also a
That's right.
treasure trove of learning.
That's right. Big or small, it is still
Yeah,
valuable experiences. Yeah.
very
And
experience.
I
More
believe
so,
next.
how we crash out and came back again. Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on
I
to the
watch
next?
a Japanese series
Hmm.
through Netflix
Mm-hmm.
called the Naked Director.
Oh.
Naked. It's
Okay.
based on true story about how Japan came on into the world of nudity. Of course, within the law.
Ah.
So this
Yeah.
guy
Yeah.
was a salesman, couldn't make it. He dive into this nudity area videos, whatever. He
Mm-hmm.
succeeded a lot, but very very ambitious, want to go satellite, but
Wow.
he couldn't get the money enough. Then he got blocked out. He failed, and the ending was stupendous. The ending was see how I fell, but I am still alive. Meaning to say,
Ah.
he became very very wealthy, multi million. It's based on real life story, and he crashed out to just by the street, selling things, meaning to say he never gave up.
Mm.
So I extracted the ending. It's so powerful. You
I
say if
see.
you if
It's
you
a
if
series
you
on Netflix, huh?
series naked director, yeah,
Mm,
but not for
interesting.
children
Interesting.
because there's some nudity here. But the
Okay.
story magnificent. You know a story is magnificent, a series magnificent when they dub it into another language. So instead of Japanese
Mm.
language original, there is an English version as well. That means it
Ah.
is very successful. Yeah, yeah.
True, true, true. I was about to ask if you knew how to speak Japanese.
I only know here and there, but then today the subtitling is very efficient, huh?
True,
So you can watch
true,
the
true.
subtitle. But it's taxing to watch subtitling
Oh yeah,
when you want to enjoy a movie, especially
yeah,
and I'm very detailed. When I watch movie in cinema, I don't go to the blue one. Of course, I make sure I go to the blue first.
yeah,
Every part I must watch right, the whole story.
yeah.
So quite taxing.
Same.
You watch a Korean or Vietnamese or Thai movie and then subtitles, right? So I
Yeah,
opted for the English version. Today's dubbing is superb, not like 20 years ago. They miss the essence. Huh? So that's an
true.
example. It's not that I recommend the series, but I recommend the concept of you can leave a legacy of your experience, of your struggles for life.
That's awesome. So, shall we move on to the next one?
Number eight, number eight, life's journey.
Mm.
The 10 reason we cover last week and this week, they are interlinked. Yeah? They're interlinked. It's just that for clarity, I organize it into individual reason. They're interlinked. Now, number eight, we go through a life journey. We should
Mm.
journal our life journey. I'm a writer, I journal every day because I'm a writer. But we would have accessed a lot of online articles, encouraging us to journal our day. I mean, people go on Facebook, it's actually journaling their life, you notice?
Yeah,
Except some
yeah.
journal, oh, I wake up like that, oh, I eat that, oh, I went there. Most of it, forgive me for being direct, is a show off, especially
Yeah.
Instagram. Where I win, want I make money. Last 2 days, I
It
read
can be
some China
superficial a lot
influencer.
of times.
Uh, because they're promoting a lavish lifestyle instead of promoting
That's right.
a real lifestyle. And some of them were lying. They did
Mm.
not get inheritance. They just lie, things like that. But anyway, it's a free world. Do whatever you are. So journal your
Yeah.
life. You journal your life through social media. But there's a better way. Journal through books.
Mm.
Short book, ebook, 30 pages, 40 pages, not even necessary 80 to 120. 80 to
Mm.
120 is considered quite a bold exercise in authoring already for today's environment. Life is so busy. Some key points you inspire people. So there are two ways you could journal your life journey from life to death, or from birth to death. And
Mm-hmm.
now I repeat, thanks to self-publishing becoming respectable. At any age, you could journal whatever. Up to your 20s, write a book. 20 to 40s, write another book. 40s to 60s, another book, or more than one. So you can
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
your life experiences. Pivotal is a word that became very, very popular the last 3 years. No thanks to pandemic. Something that really was turning point,
Yeah.
the turning points of your life. Everyone has turning point in life. The high points, the low point. The other way is I learned this from an online speaker. Turn your mess, MESS. It could be a crisis, it could be a failure, it could be a humongous disappointment into a message of value. And
Mm.
people like to read and buy books like that because it's based on real life, not fiction. So two ways: life pivotal life experiences or turning points in your life. The other way is turn a mess, MESS, into a message of value. Fantastic, huh?
Mm.
And number
Very nice.
nine, shall we go into number nine?
Yeah.
Not because I'm a professional writer, thank God for that. I have a habit of writing. I have a habit of journaling, right? Even before online promote and the psychological articles say you should journal so you express yourself, right? The word is catharsis, CATHARSIS. Is a psychological term that
Mm.
everyone should endear to and make use of. Catharsis is in simple English, self-healing. When you talk about it, express it out, you you open the way for self-healing. You know,
Ah,
the good that I've done, the bad that I've done, the success that I have, I could have done more, or the failure I went through and turned me into a very, very, what do you call it, demotivated person, and then I rose up from it and whatever. It's cathartic from the word
mm.
catharsis, CATHARSIS, self healing. So write
Basically
a lot of
facing yourself, right?
yeah, write a lot of books, Aaron. My Facebook, I write, I journal my feeling. I
Uh-huh.
don't. People can do whatever they do. I don't tell people what I eat today, where I go to. Of course, I can, but I rather tell people how am I feeling this morning. Not
Yeah.
in a roundabout way. I just post a quote. Sometimes my own. Sometimes I pluck from the internet. You know, there's
Mm.
so many nice quote now done in image form, and
It's
then
much more
sometimes
meaningful that way.
meaningful. So now I wake up. I mean, I'm very wealthy friend, highly wealthy, the practically billionaire. But today, don't people don't like them. People don't like to tell people the word they're billionaire, for safety.
Mm.
They also
Mm.
wake up sometimes moody and despondent.
Yeah.
That's human nature. And so sometimes I wake up despondent. I put that way there. Sometimes I put how. So that's journaling.
Mm.
But why not journal into ebook or book? That's better still. It's not just
True.
in social media. So that's number nine, catharsis and self healing. Yeah,
Very nice.
and
I'm quite a
we
fan of
are
the
about
10th one, personal story and
mm,
autobiography.
yeah, about 8 minutes will be just nice, and then after we do a neat wrap up, and that will be 30 minutes for today. Number
Awesome.
10 is your personal story. Just now I broached upon it briefly. As I said, all the 10 reasons they are interlinked. Everyone has the personal story in life, the whole life, the
Yeah.
whole life. Some people write the biography. Now, there's a difference between autobiography and biography, just for people not aware of. Why some stories or books are called autobiography, some are autobiography. The difference is this:
Mm.
biography is someone write for you or write about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, autobiography is I write myself. But having said
I see.
so, biography need not be correct, Aaron. That means it's good to know this because someone write
Mm.
about you, and you can't
Mm.
sue the person if the person has suitable facts here and there. Some fiction, you can't sue the person
Mm.
unless you touch on something that's scandalous. So
Right.
autobiography is better. I write myself. Or not to worry. Today is a world of ghostwriters. Yeah, I don't like the word
But
ghostwriters.
you could,
Actually, shadow writers.
true, true.
Yeah,
But you could also embellish a little bit too much on your autobiography. What
you
about that?
can you can embellish a bit, as we say, mostly factual and a bit of like Chinese say "ka yim ka cho," add some salt and vinegar. It's okay. It's okay. Make it a bit exciting story.
Right.
But I always use the phrase "stretch the truth but tell no lies."
Mm.
Stretch it a bit lah, exaggerate a bit. All movies are like that. All series are like that. Stretch a
Yeah.
bit lah. That makes the story more enticing. But don't go the other way and tell lies.
Until it's misleading
Yeah. Then
or
it's
yeah.
not a biography. Then it's an inspirational story. That's another reason if you write a book. But here we're talking about autobiography or biography.
Fair
Autobiography,
enough.
the good news is there are many. I'm also a ghostwriter. I prefer the term shadow writer.
Mm-hmm.
And you pay the shadow writer, guest writer two ways. One way is a flat fee, depending on the skill credibility of the writer. 5,000, 10,000, 50,000. There was once I was offered 2,000. I looked at him in the face. Are you mad? Anyone who will write a book for 2,000 must have no value at all, right?
True.
I almost say shame on you. Of course, the good writer would have a fee of minimum 10K and above,
Mm.
depending on the
Yeah.
thickness
Maybe they
and
were only
broadness.
expecting like ten pages.
Yeah, no, they expected 100 pages. So you
Oh
could
my
go to
goodness.
Fiverr.com, which is a very
Yeah.
popular site online. Even for $5 you can, there are people doing it. But can you trust people? Maybe you do a simple logo, a simple
It's very
slogan,
hard.
5
I've
USD,
tried.
okay. Write a book, Aaron. Impossible.
I've tried using Fiverr quite a bit, but
Uh,
to find the right person for whatever service you want, it's a bit hard.
yeah. And not to
But
worry,
anyway,
if you want to go
I think the
online,
next one is quite. Sorry, please go
memoir,
ahead.
memoir. One is biography,
Yeah,
is
memoir.
from usually chronological, from birth. We don't talk too much about birth and children. Maybe some traumatic areas they want to talk about. Then to the teens, working life, and then the twilight of the life. That's autobiography. There's no fixed formula. You can cover
Yeah,
the life. What? So Lim Tong didn't write his until very late. Someone wrote for him. And then the other one is memoir. It's a French word. As we know, English is a rojak language. They talk other language into English. So memoir, Memoir. If we pronounce as memoir, who cares? As long as people know what it means. Memoir is just a certain aspect of a person's life. Could be one, could be two, could be three.
mm,
Real aspect of one word. We talk about it. There's a memoir. Of course, you put there as part of your title, blah blah blah, an autobiography, or blah 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 biography, or blah 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 a memoir. So people know where you're coming from. Memoir, you don't cover the whole life. Just one aspect, two aspect, three aspect. Yeah?
that's true.
So that could be, those could be turning points. Those could be the most successful times of your life. This could be the most despondent times of your life. This could be the pivotal point of your life. Whatever. The the scope is very, very broad. So that covers the 10 super real reason why everyone must be an author. All right.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And I believe that next week we'll have something more interesting. We're going to be diving into the juicy parts of how to go about it, right?
Exactly.
But
The first two episodes last week and this week, why
yeah,
you must be an author. Because if
mm,
I started how to write a book, it won't have impact. As we know, tell people why, ask people why. Then they get excited. Hopefully the audience are all excited, because next week
true.
onwards, the next 10 episode, I will give my version of how to be an author, how to craft a book in 10 segments. Meaning
Awesome.
each of the segment you can take notes or you can go back to Big Chief channel. Every show is recorded. You can write your own book. Even though you are not a professional writer like us. You can.
Very, very
Because
nice.
after that, if you don't write so well, you can always use the services of editor. Huh?
True. Or you could
Sounds
ask us for tips if you need to in the chat or give us a message. But John, since for the sake of time, perhaps you'd like to wrap up today's episode by sharing a few words of wisdom.
yeah. To wrap up, I like to tell my real version of. I started putting out my book at quite advanced age, So beware, if you, anyone in the audience, and I'm sitting on real experience and I've touched base with people like myself who are professional writers. Usually professional writers or those very strong command in language, they write book at an advanced age because they try to practice perfectionistic attitude, which is no good. Which is no good.
Right, right.
And the second reason is they're afraid they may not sell. So there are
Right.
10 reasons, 9 other reasons here. It's not about making money from selling the book. In fact, today, the trick, the secret is not to make money from selling the book. It's to make money through as a PR marketing tool, you know, converting your training program into a book, But if you promote enough after that by yourself, you can make money indirectly or
Awesome.
directly. Yeah. Because if you go through a traditional publishing house, as I mentioned last week, it is a known fact. They only give you 5 to 10% royalty. If you
Mm-hmm.
sell a book for 50 ringgit, you only get 5 to 10 ringgit. The rest they use it for promotion and for their profit.
Right, that's
Those
true.
days are gone because those days traditional publishing houses were like gods within inverted comma.
Yeah.
They decide who shall be author. Those days are gone. Since 10 years ago, now you decide. You are the author. But if you want
Very, very good.
to make money indirectly, all the 9 other reasons I gave you, if you want to make money, even the typical way of selling book, you promote lah. It can be
Mm.
done. You must
Awesome,
promote it.
awesome.
Right.
Thank you so much, John, for your wise words. And it is time to leave the show for now. But we'd like to share really quickly that we are live every 8:30 GMT plus 8. And we are looking forward to see you again on the Big Chief channel. How everyone, and goodbye.
And bye.